Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the next session of Java development. So, in our previous session, we have discussed about features of Java. So, before that, we talked about writing the program and how a program usually executes in a computer or in a system. We have talked about it. That is, it usually contains three parts. That is, writing code, compiling the code, and executing the code. Right? Yeah. So as we are sticking to Java technology in our course, we should know about Java before we start our journey, right? So in that we talked about it's a high-level language, programming language, which uses some English keywords in it, apart from the syntax, normal, coding-related syntax. Apart from that, we use some English keywords over there, and using them, we write some statements actually using Java language, we create some Java statements. So those statements together is like Java code, and which results into Java programs. Every code can be like considered like a Java program, like specific task, something program. All programs together can help us to build a software application. We have seen the features of Java language. Before that, we talked like by taking inspiration from the objects, real world objects. The persons who invented the Java, they incorporated those concepts into the programming language called object-oriented programming. Yeah, and Java is simple and it's platform independent language, portable. It is like robust and it is a feature of distributed nature, and it's secured, highly secure language. There is a garbage collection concept in you know Java, and it's object oriented. So we talked extensively about these things in yesterday's session. So yeah, before proceed further, just give me the confirmation, guys, online people, that you're able to see my screen and as well as you're able to hear my voice properly. Kavya, Vijay, Srilata, yeah, fine. No. So simple means don't think like the coding is simple or something like what I say like logical thinking is not required for writing coding. Coding is easy. Okay, coding is same. If you are writing any logical develop any logics, if you are developing in any language, logics are same. Like you have to think logic and then you have to write the syntax. But simple in terms of uh, what I select transformation. Actually, before Java, we have C, right? From C to Java, it is easy for the people to transform from one language to the other one, because it almost use the same kind of what we call like keywords. Like syntax also same, and most of the keywords also same. That's the reason it's simple to learn. The next is very important thing. It's platform independent language. We already talked about it extensively yesterday. That you know it says in C language, whatever the code we write, C is like platform dependent language. If you write something in C language and if you save it with the .c and compiled everything properly compiled and error free code is ready now, that code can be executed only in that system, which is an error free code. If you take that one to the other system and if you try to execute over there, it will not be executing. And what you need to do is you have to take that program file only, like the source code only, how to take again you have to take it to the new system. There again you have to start compiling the code. So that process again you need to do. But in Java, intermediate in between something extra is there called dot object. Actually, this is called a byte code. We call it as byte code. Whatever we generated is called byte code. This normally whatever we write is called source code. In between something is created. .exe is like executable files. These are the files which will run in the computer. So, but something like byte code is generated after compilation without errors and all, everything it is ready now. Now, this one, if you try to execute in the processor one, means computer one, in that have processor one, according to the processor one, it will be, executable file is created and you can run the program. But when you take this bytecode to the other computer like PC2, there this obj file, .obj file you'll be taking over there, and then here again the .exe file is created in accordance with that processor. So this also obviously will execute without any problem. That's it. Here what happens is this program1.exe file is created in accordance with the processor 1. If you take the same program1.exe to the next computer, then this processor 2 will not understand this kind of what the decoding or encoding whatever happened here cannot understood by the another computer. That's it. That is about that, and it's about portable language. I talk about it. And portable means in POS. POS means point of sales. You have swiping machines and all right, like ATMs and counting machines and so many areas. So many different systems. I say we use Java means you can write Java language in computer, and you can distribute. You can give it to you can install it in any other systems. So it's portable from one device to other device. You can carry. You can write in one device, and you can take it and you can run it in another device. It's more about portability. Robust, so it's an open source language, and it has so many libraries inbuilt, and also some third party libraries also available for Java, using which from the basic level to mid level and advanced level applications and complex applications we can able to develop with the help of these library support. And also that's why it's robust in nature. Coming to the distributed, I talked about it, right? So when you're talking about the applications, writing the application one time and installing that application in one computer and running is one kind of a centralized what I say, like softwares where it will run at some place. But it's not like that. Distributed means Java has the feature of distributed nature, that if you're having multiple devices over there, you can install that particular software, whatever the application you created, and all at a time will work like in distributed environment. So that is called, that nature itself is like distributed. And security I already talked. So inbuilt security is available in Java due to its features. We talk about it later. We can talk it. And garbage collection. So whenever any program is happening, then that particular program will use some resources from your computer or from the device whatever you're using actually for running. That resources are like in some memory, right? Some things, some memory related things and all. It will be using. So then what happens is, uh, once your program is running, okay, fine. But the moment when your program's done means when you're done with your program, at that time, if you close the program and if you doing some other activity from your computer, then sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes what happens is whatever the resources which were occupied by the earlier program still in that occupied mode, and they are not available for other things, like they are not free. So what we need to do is we have to free that when you're closing the program, or when you're closing in your shutdown your complete application. At that time, whatever the data used by the variables, local variables will be there in the program, right? So those variables usually use some data. So the data or whatever will be stored definitely in the RAM or some other memory locations in your computer. So those things should be released before you close that. So else it will unnecessarily it will hang the system. So to do this, generally in especially okay in C language, we use some concept like freeing the memory. Some allocation, allocating the memory concept will be there, and freeing the memory will be there. But in this, you no need to take care of that. Actually, it will happen in Java also. That removing and freeing the memory concept is happening. But as a programmer, we no need to worry about it much, because there is some garbage collector is there, a default object I say, or assume like it's some program or something. It's a default thing is there which will take care of that activity. Now, garbage is which is of no use, right? Yeah, it is a it supports it contains object oriented programming principles or concepts will be there, because before this we have C language, right? C is like procedure oriented programming language, but it is object oriented programming language. Java. So that's it. This is about your features of Java language. Before this, I talk about Java, right? Okay, objects and all fine. How this name came to Java? Some small history about it. So there is one person like James Gosling, and is the guy who is behind this uh, invention of Java. James Gosling and team is there, and later there is a company like Sun Microsystems was there. So in that all the latest versions, next versions of Java, everything have been developed. They took it as a project and they started it as a project. The project itself is Java, and they released it as an open source from the starting itself. So people can use that, and they have so many. There are so many library files they are written. They also have so many .java files. We can use them. Earlier, they came up with so many names for Java, something like DNA, like different names. There is some other name like something like oak they have given. There is something like oak tree, something like some other name they give, and something like DNA, different names they came up, and one more name like dynamic. There's a name like something like dynamic, like that. They came up with the different names, but there used to be something like an island like Java and something like that. People say with that name, but there is a coffee trees were there in that island called Java, and those coffee trees are very famous in that particular island and all. And the people, whoever invented them, like this team, used to have coffee daily and all. So suddenly, what happened over there is they came with some thought like what happens if we go with this particular coffee or tea name, something like that. We can go with name. So simply they just gave that name. So that's the reason most of the times I think you people have already observed this. This one, like some hot coffee, something like that. Default some symbol will be there. So that's it. This is the story behind Java, the name and all. Now you want to run Java code in your computer. So then what to do? If you want to run Java, generally you require something called JRE. We call it as Java Runtime Environment. So if you have that runtime environment in your system, there Java code can be run. So for that, this particular JRA to be installed in the computer, then only we can able to get it. So to get a proper understanding, just a minute, I will draw this. Now, assume I told you like Java is available in so many systems. Like see, in ATM systems, ATM machines, Java code will be there, and you'll be having something like some counting machines will be there, and some POS point of sales devices it will be there, and in so many touch sensor sensing devices will be there. No? So there also Java programs are there, and in the web applications also Java programs are there, and some mobile default applications are there. Right? Some I'm talking about mobile default applications like mobile system applications. I'm not talking about your WhatsApp, mm, Gmail, not that application which you downloaded from the Play Store. I'm not talking about them. They are Android applications. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the application, mobile default application. You'll be having right native applications. People say that what to say like messages, contact. You'll be having right some default things. So those also softwares applications. Those also are developed earlier through Java, and you find mostly Java in games. In earlier days, all the games, most of the games used to be developed in Java language. So etc. In most of the areas, the Java is available. It is a very prominent language and whose presence is everywhere. And even you have medical devices. You'll be having right so many what I say software applications also people will use for these devices and all. They will connect, but there is something you might have seen something with display and all. So in the background, people will be using that language. Fine. Now what I want to talk is here. Wherever you want to run your Java application, who will create Java application? Java programmer will create it in their computers or wherever they will create. But where it will run, it may run in different things. Right? I told you just now, it may run in a ATM or something. POS point of sale means that small device will be there, no, where you will swiping machine. Okay, in simple words, like in that counting machine, whatever. So then what happens is that particular system. See, everything is like a system. We say it's like a whatever the computer we use is like a personal computer, but other things also like systems. They are also computing device. They are also systems. So in that system, this particular JRE should be first installed. Then only the Java programs, whatever you created, and if you install them in your other device, they will not run unless and until JRE is installed in that computer. So in simple words, in any device, if you want Java to be run, you need to install JRE in them. Clear. And apart from JRE, we have one more also called JDK. This is called Java Development Kit. And in the devices like ATM machine or in POS, like your swiping machines and all, there you will not be having Java Development Kit. You will be having only JRE. You understood? Means then where we'll be having, if you want to develop Java programs in your computer or Java applications in your computer, you should have JDK. What JDK will be containing? Generally, if you write any program, what you need to do? If you want to write any program, you'll be writing the code. Java means Java code you will be writing. Then you have to compile the program. Compile means what it will do, it will check for the errors, and if no errors, it will be converting your code into some other format. Some what I say, like a machine understandable format or something, it will be converting. So in Java, you'll be having some dot object file or bytecode. Then that has to be executed. That particular thing has to be executed. Execute code. This is what happens. Now, when you talk about developing the programs, you should be in a position to do these things. You should write the code. For that, we can use some normal editor, and you should for let's say any editor like Notepad also enough. You can write a code. Call it as a source file, whatever you write. Next, we have to compile. To compile the program, we should have one compiler in your computer. Which program? Java program. You should have something called Java compiler. And to execute the code, you should have something like JVM in your computer. You should have JVM. All these things together, you will be getting through JDK. I repeat, JDK is Java Development Kit. It is a software, sir. It has to be first installed in your computer in order to work with Java. You have to write the code through any editor, and you have to compile the code through Java compiler, and you have to execute the code through JVM. But if you want to run a Java application in your computer or in other anywhere, you should have just a JRE. That is enough. But if you want to write and execute, if you want to write the code and as well as if you want to execute the code, then you should have JDK. That is the difference here. So we'll give you some more clarity here. Next is what JRE. What exactly JRE will contain is some libraries. Libraries means what here? Java default will have some files. In that already we'll be having some files associated with that for different activities. Who has written those files? The people behind Java who created Java. They created so many library files. So some libraries are very important. Those libraries plus JVM is called Java runtime environment. So that's the reason if you want to run any Java related application in any of the system or any of the device, that device must contain JRE. In that, supporting libraries will be there, and to run the code, JVM will be there. That's it. That is enough. But if you want to create some Java programs and applications, and if you want to run them, then you should have Java compiler and as well as JVM. Along with that JVM, obviously, if required, some libraries also will be there. So JDK is a bigger picture. Inside the JDK, we have this. So to understand in a better way, here I am drawing this, so we will be getting the clarity. So assume that this is the JDK here. So this is JDK. Inside this, we have Java compiler, and inside this, we have Java runtime environment. This would be your JRE. Inside that JRE, what will be there? There will be some system libraries will be there, and an important thing like JVM will be there. They will be connecting with each other depending on the requirement. And simply I can say Java library, libraries or library. Here it will be JVM. The full form of JVM is Java Virtual Machine. It's simply a software which runs your Java code inside a computer or any device. It's called JVM. And here it is like a Java compiler. So if you want Java programs to be run in your computer, then this software is specifically available to you. You can install it called JRE. And if you have Java programs already available, someone already created them, if someone gave to you by by compiling, they already have to compile it and they have to give the byte code, like the intermediate form. You no need to edit it. You should not do anything. Everything should be ready and already everything is tested, everything fine. That byte code you have to take and you can able to run in the system. So for that to happen, you have to install JR in the computer. But if you want to write the code on your own and if you want to run them, then JDK need to be installed, which contains Java compiler and this one. So what happens is from this compiler, always things will go to JRE. So first thing what happens is if you write a code, the code will be compiled, right? So at that time you'll be calling Java compiler. How to call I will tell you, don't worry. So you have to call the Java compiler. Then Java compiler will check your code from top to bottom, line by line. It will be checking, and if any errors is there in terms of syntax, it will throw the error, and then we need to correct that syntax related errors, and then again you have to do this up to until it is becoming error free. Then that code will be transferred to this JRE and it is ready to be executed. Then the moment we type another command, the moment we call the JVM to run the program, then we can call it by using some syntax will be there. I will tell you that, so that program will be running. So this is how uh, Java development usually be happening from the scratch, like in terms of platform or environment setup. I can say this. And that OBJ, I told you just OBJ. Actually, OBJ is nothing but objects. They are like OBJ, but they'll be actually created like dart class files. Just to understand, I just mentioned like object files created, but uh, not just object file will be created. Actually, it is like that class file will be created, but that is like object files, and we call them as bytecode. Dart class files will be generated, and you can use those dart class files from where. if you want to execute any Java code in your computer, you must and should first install this, and then you can write all these things. So in the upcoming sessions, that is next session, maybe by tomorrow, or will be installing Java software, that is JDK software in the computer. I will tell you how to install and all. So we'll be finishing that part. But assume you do not have this setup in your computer, like JDK, what to say, okay, JDK means all the things. You don't have JDK in your computer. Still, you have some knowledge, basic programming knowledge you have in your through C language or anything. You have some basic knowledge, and you normally you don't have the knowledge, but now you want to execute something, but without installing. Still, we can able to do that. So in online, you can get the compiler. Means that compilation activity. Why actually we need software and all actually to do that compilation running and all only we need software. But there are certain websites which do provide online compilation facility. So we have something like online compilers where we can directly run the code. Here we have something like online compiler. You can go program is different compilers in there. Yeah. So this is what a default it is showing some message like this. So in this, I talk about this word like class extensively, and I also talk about this method called main method. So as of now, you just assume like it is a method or something like action. Main is some action, and in that directly who will execute your program? Main will execute, right? What JVM will execute. So JVM directly calls this function like a main, and directly it starts working with that. So these two things I will talk about later. In the upcoming sessions, I will talk about that. You need some more time to get into that, but you just leave that. And so to write any Java code, if you want to work with the Java code, just to think in simple words, like you have to create something like class, open this, and then you have to write this, and after that you have to write the main function, something like this. If you want to uh, write any Java program, you have to write like this. Class names usually starts from capital letter, and then you need to write this public static void main. After that, you have to write this. But these are like default things, okay? But I talk about each word why we need to write and all. Next, in order to print anything in your program, uh, means print and cross check, print and check. For that purpose, we have a method called system.out.println. So here it is there, and whatever the content you want to print, we have to put inside the quotes because it's a string, like a normal text related content, we can able to get it. So now here I'm just printing something like welcome to Java. After this, just click this. Now you're able to see the output. So again, I'm telling you guys here Java compiler something is doing all these things for you. So again, I'm telling you that this only for understanding purpose. Starting, I'm telling you that we can even do this without the installation of Java software in your computer. But in real time, we do not do in the what we say in online computer, online compiler. We do in our computer. That we will do in tomorrow or day before, day after tomorrow. We'll be doing that. Mostly by tomorrow. We'll be doing. So now that's it. In this way, it's you are getting the output, right? Something like welcome to Java it is showing. So this is like the basic structure of Java program. So we learned basic structure of Java program. What it contains, we have to create some class, then some name we need to provide for class, and then there we have to write the main method. So for main method, you have to write some syntax here. That syntax usually starts something like this: public, static, void, main, something like that. The syntax will be there. And inside this, you can able to write any printing statement over there. We can able to write with the help of system.out.println. So this is the basic structure of the Java program. And to run that, we can take the help of JDK installation, or directly you can run it in the browser. So when you're talking about the program, programs have to store some data. Storing means temporarily it has to store some data. Let's say example, you are having uh, some login system, username and password is there. The moment you click that username and password, then what happens? If you are entering the correct username and password, then your home page will open or something like that. And if you are entering the wrong, then what happens? You will be in the same page with error message, right? Yeah. So then what we need to do here is how it is storing actually. Storing means you are entering something, okay, but how it is able to tell that whatever you entered is correct one or wrong one, because your data already stored in the database, okay, fine, but whatever you are entering at this moment, it will store the data for temporary purpose. Clear? So it will store the data, whatever you enter it will store for temporary purpose. So to store any data for temporary purpose in your program, we use a concept called variable. So I repeat, if you want to store any data temporarily in your program, we use a concept called variable. Or in other words, I can say that variable is like a placeholder to hold or store data in program, and will not store it for permanent purpose. It will store for temporary. Why I'm telling not permanent? Because the moment see, listen. So the moment you are running any program, that stores the data in the RAM memory. The moment you close that program, that is gone. That variable will not have any data. Understood? So let's same example. See, you are having login system. There you are entering username and password. Your username correct or not, it will tell you, right? How it will tell? Original data is there in database, fine. But you are entering some username, right? That username it will check with the original data. To check it first, sometime it should hold that data, right? Then it will check it, and if it is correct, then it will be giving you the home page. If it is wrong, it will be throwing the error message. Till that moment it will hold your data, you understand? And after that, see, assume that is one application like Facebook you are accessing. Now your friend also can access Facebook, right? Now he also enters username and password. At that time, whatever the username password, see, for everybody not same login, not different login page, right? For every person same login page, their credentials are maybe different usernames. Now he enters at that time also, that username will be stored for some time for him also, right? And that data will be checked with the original data. If it is true, home page is written, else some error message is written. So what I mean to say here is that storing of data usually happens inside the program, but for temporary purpose. For permanent purpose, we use database. That is different story. Using SQL queries and using one database server, we store the data into the database. So coming days, we just started Java, right? We'll be learning advanced concepts in the Java. There we store the data from the program. First program we store permanent, like temporary. The same we will store into the database permanently. That also you'll see in the upcoming video. But for that you need to finish with at least 4 concepts of Java. Okay. So, but today it is like about variable concept. So to hold the data, to store the data, there are some placeholders we define. They'll hold the data in a program for temporary purpose. Uh, to do that, data can be anything. If you're talking about your name is like characters, group of characters, right? Something like your phone number. Your phone number is a numbers, just definitely number. Your phone number will not contain ABCD. Definitely it's a number, but one big number, right? Your ID, some ID means some people have one ID. It's like a normal number. Phone number is a big number, right? Next, if you're talking about your age or something like that, I want exact age, something like that, then you might be having like a 21.5 years, 21.5 years, something like that. You understood? So that kind of, or even some salary. You might be having something like some salary like 40,000, or you'll be having some salary like 40,440.50. Yes, it will be there. Depends. Yeah, everything calculated, right? It will be there. Original salary I'm talking. People will round off and people will tell like, but transactions, right? It will be there. So there is a requirement for us to store different data in your program. Sometimes we need to store the characters, names and all places names. Sometimes we need to store some numbers, sometimes big numbers, sometimes small numbers, sometimes numbers with decimal points, right? Sometimes without decimal point. So To store the data, we use variable. Okay, fine. But what kind of data to be stored? We need to specify. Clear? For that, in Java, what we use is called data type. Not only in Java, in other languages also we use the data type. What exactly this data type will do is data type specifies what type of data we stored in the variable. Clear? So it specifies what type of data to be stored into the variable. So who is the person? Data type is the one who will be doing that activity. In Java, basically we have primitive, or people say primary, primitive or primary data types concept is there. And we have something like other secondary, or we have something like derived data types, that other category is there. So but we don't get into that category at this moment. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Something called primitive data types. So when you talk about the primitive data types here, we have a total of 8 data types are there. Depending on the requirement of our storage of data, we have how many? 8 data types. In that, to store the numbers related data, few data types are there. And to store the characters related things, we have data type. And to store the Boolean data. Boolean meaning is when system true or false. When systems are understanding something, systems don't understand the things in yeah, numbers or names. It will not understand. Everything is like binary, right? But here generally we have okay one person data. Assume like employee data. Employee name string like characters. Employee ID some number. Phone number also one number. Salary also some number. There is one more column. Assume like employee have like is applied for insurance. It is like applied. For that answer like yes or no will be there. Understood? They're like true or false. Applied for insurance. You understood right? So many employees are there. Everyone will have all this data: name, ID, phone number, salary, like that. Different things. In that they'll have insurance applied or not. For everyone, it will be like either yes or no will be there. Some people for it is true, yes. For some people may not apply. For them, like false, no. Understood it? Such kind of data also we can store. You understood? Like true and false. So as per that, we do have different category of data types here. In numbers, we have direct numbers. Direct numbers means without any decimal point, full number only. So that category also there, and with the decimal point, a category also there. So this is without the decimal point, and this is like with the decimal points. Just I have written WOD means without the decimals point. This is like with the decimal point. Two categories again inside the numbers. Again we have two categories. Okay. Now without decimal point here in this like normal direct whole numbers, right? 1 2 3 numbers, and in this we have data types. Now here they are like byte, short, int, long. What are they? Byte, short, int, long. Next with the decimal point, like a point, like 23.19, something like that. Yeah. What are they? Float here. Good. Float, and we have one more called double. Float and double. Next in the characters set category, we don't have any different things. Only one thing is there like character. For that we define char. If you want to store one person, employee only, you want to store um, one field like assume there are different sections in that employees are working. Their section A, section B, section C. Understood right? Employee name different, ID different, insurance something true or false different, phone number different. Like that section. Assume like they have one field like section. Answer are like A, B, C, D. Assume like there are 5 6 sections in that company. A section, B section. Understood? To store that also we use something called data type called char. And to store the boolean related data, already we talked about it. That is like directly it is a boolean. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are four basic primitive 8 data types are there in Java. How to define the variables? Okay, we talked about variables, like variables are used as a placeholder to store data in the program, and data type is something which specifies what type of data to be stored inside variable, right? And primary data types we are talking, but how to store the data means what kind of, because it's a programming language, everything we need to tell in terms of syntax. Java is not a person, right? It's not a person. Person means you can tell he can understand, but it's a programming language. If Java compiler, Java JDK, Java machine, whatever it has to understand means we have to communicate in Java language. That's why we need to write Java syntax properly. So now we need to declare the variables. We need to declare the variables means we are telling to our computer, our system, that I am going to use one variable with some name. In that I am going to store some data. For that, give some memory. This is called declaration variable. We usually think like int a something, but actually behind the scenes that is the meaning of that. You are telling to the computer that I am going to use one variable whose name I am giving something, some reference name I am writing. With that, some data I am going to store. How much data you are going to store, you will say. Sometimes you may not say exact what data, but you will tell how much data, means like how much memory you want for that. That is called declaring the variable. And how to declare the variable in Java languages, we have to specify the data type name, and then you have to write the variable name. In this way we can able to declare the variables. Clear? And once you declare the variables, the second step is, what is that? Initialize the variable. Whatever the variable you declare, for that you will be initializing, means you will be giving some value to your variable for the first time. That is called what? Initialization. So let's say example here. This is called declaration. Okay. Next, initialization means, okay, here I gave int a, and then here I gave a equal to something 20. This a equal to 20 is called what? Initialization. For the first time, if you give the value to your variable, is called what? Initialization. Clear? And next, we have, when you talk about variable, you have these three concepts, which is what? Assignment of the variable or assignment of variable. So what does it mean? Assignment means from the second time onwards, if you change the value of a variable, that is called what? Assignment. So data type and variable name is called declaration. Giving value to your variable for the first time is called what? Initialization. Next, assignment means you can declare a variable, later you can able to change it. So here, initially what is the value? 20, right? Later in the future you are making it 60. Now up to this point a value is 20, but after this point a value is 60. Means you can modify or you can change the value. Variable meaning what? Variable, which can vary. It varies throughout the program, may not be same. Password in login. Login is a program. In that password, you enter password now, some password. After some time, you enter another password. Same. It will vary definitely. Fine. So these three things will be there. But sometimes, but most of the times, what happens is these two steps. What are they? Declaration and second step is what? Initialization. This part is like assignment. But most of the times, what happens is these two steps will be combined. Which are they? First and second, declaration and as well as initialization. Instead of keeping them separate, people will write together like this. Same values I am giving to avoid the confusion. Clear? Int a 20. What does it mean? This statement meaning is declaring a variable called a with an initial value called 20. Clear? Now this I can write here directly in my compiler. I open it right here. Uh, Here I can declare it. Yes. Now I want to print its value. Which value? A value I want to print and cross check whether that is A properly. Generally, system.out is used to cross check the output only. Means like debugging, for checking only we do it. And it's very Java is highly it's case sensitive language, and it's a, in terms of syntax it is very what I say, strict. You should not miss even semicolon also. See, I'm missing semicolons. It will throw error. Immediately it will throw error. See, something expected. On say it is telling some semicolon expected, something like that. So if you want to write printing, you can write like this. Now to reload the page, run it. Yeah. Welcome to Java. What value printed? 20. So in this way, You can able to run the program with the help of the Java compiler online. But in tomorrow's session, we'll be installing the JDK in your computer. Then we can run in our computer also. But before that, I want you to have an idea how to run and all. So for that, the basic structure will be writing. Just now I have shown you, right? The basic structure of the Java program. This we need to follow. And I talk about these things. I already told you class, what is the meaning of that public, static, every keyword I talk. But in the future sessions, upcoming sessions. Yeah, so that's it, guys. That's it for the day. I don't want to take it further on first day itself. Okay, so what I want you to do is like first understand this concept again. Go through this session. That you'll be getting an idea like what is JRE, what is JDK, and all. Then the basic structure, and try to write int double or something like that. You can write other, but at least write int and all, write some values and try to display them in the online compiler. So write this code first. Get used to write the basic Java code first. Get yourself what I say, get habituated for writing that code so that it will become easy. It doesn't look like main yes square. The moment if you look at like that first time, how it looks like a difficult thing. So don't do that. Just it will happen like that first time, but if you are into Java, but the moment you start practicing, it won't be that. So that's it, guys. That's it for the day. I hope you guys have got the clarity about today's session. Still, if you are having any doubt regarding today's session, just let me know, guys. You can unmute yourself, you can ask your doubt, or you can ask your doubt in the chat box. Or else, if you are clear with today's session, just to mention like you are clear quickly, all of you. So it seems like fine for all of you, right? So don't neglect to practice for practicing. So it looks simple only, but still you have to practice daily. Today, first session, it will be like that. In upcoming sessions, the number of things will increase, right? So don't postpone that activity of practicing. Today, whatever I said, try to practice the same way. So we'll meet in the next session and we'll see some other things. So bye, guys.